Hey everyone, this is Pete, and welcome back to Final Fantasy, where last time we made our way into the Sunken Shrine, where we're hopefully going to meet some mermaids. But our main objective is to sort out the water crystal, and to find the Rosetta Stone for Dr. Un, so we can learn how to speak Lufenian, which in turn will allow us to get up to the Flying Fortress. I think we're pretty strong in a minute. We may well be over-leveled at this point. Level 35, not too bad. I mean, we're in a good position, I think. We got good equipment, got good levels. I think we got most of the spells we need at this point, maybe a couple more. If I remember correctly, we ran out of money, didn't we? How much money have we got? 22,000. That's not a lot at this point in the game. I'm lacking a bit in health for some reason. Did I not rest before we came here? Oh well, it's all good. Right, this is one of those dungeons I can't remember the layout of at all, so there's going to be a bit of wandering around today, I must apologise. But I'm sure you're used to it by now. At least we're really not having to worry too much about trash enemies at the minute. We've got a good stock of healing items as well, so we can restore magic points and hit points as necessary. So yeah, we're in a good place right now. Treasure! 9,900 gil. I feel like it's going to be lots of Thundaga in here. Or maybe not necessary. I'm trying to be thorough, as I don't like missing treasures in this. Because you just know, if you miss one treasure, it'll be like that one really good weapon. Excuse me, or bit of armor, or something like that. So it's worth being as thorough as you can, even if it does mean you getting into lots of fights. Oh, that was a surprisingly big hit from Tim there, with his cat claws. I mean, obviously it's still not up to the standard of Pierre and Sam, but certainly... Ooh, hello. I feel like you might have been a preset fight. Stop hitting me. Kill them all. Go on, kill them all. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. This is what being a black mage is all about. 2,000 gil. Every little is appreciated. This is where, after what I said, every single treasure chest is going to be just money, isn't it? Not that that's a problem right now, because we did need some money to get some of those final spells. Oh, it's a crit, that's why he did so much damage. Yeah, I mean, a black mage doing half the amount of damage of a warrior in melee, that's not bad at all, is it? Nothing in there. 10 hits. Blimey. It's dungeons like this where this game feels a lot more like sort of what we now know as dungeon crawlers, rather than what we tend to think of as sort of, if someone just says RPG to you, you tend to think of a slightly more modern Final Fantasy, but the structure of this one just feels a lot more like a dungeon crawler. So there's the emphasis on mechanics, leveling your character and exploring. So like you've probably seen already in this dungeon that there are lots of different pathways you can take. And the same has been true for previous dungeons as well. I mean, most of those other pathways led to dead ends, admittedly, but... Whoops. Don't want to go down just yet. Yeah, a lot of those pathways do lead to dead ends, but they are alternative pathways nonetheless. And sometimes there's treasure in those dead ends, sometimes it's just a room. And there's a certain amount of imagination you can put into that. So, like, we know this is a shrine. So even if you do come across an empty room, you can sort of draw your own conclusions about what those various empty rooms might actually be. Whether they were, like, priest's chambers, or like some sort of ceremonial room, or whether there was an altar there or something like that. And what we know is dungeon crawlers today, sort of 3D first-person perspective grid-based dungeon crawlers, they tend to keep that layer of abstraction in there, so that you sort of fill in the blanks yourself. And like, that's not to everyone's taste, because we're at a point now where you can lovingly render environments with an incredible amount of detail in 3D and 2D, for that matter. I mean, 2D we've been able to do sort of pretty much since the mid to late 16-bit era. We've been able to do detailed 2D environments, but right, I think we've covered this whole floor, haven't we? So yeah, not everyone likes that sort of imaginative aspect, because yeah, I mean, if you're capable of, if you have the technology to be able to render things in massive detail, well, I mean, why wouldn't you? And the answer for that is the same as why you'd read different authors. I mean, like, why would you read someone who, say, I'm trying to think of a good description here. Why would you read, say, I don't know, Irvine Welsh, who writes his work in Scottish dialect from the perspective of his characters, and as such is more about dialogue and monologue and that sort of thing, when you could read Dickens, that has 5-page descriptions of the fog coming up the Thames in London town. That's an exaggeration, obviously, but I mean, you get the point. It's different approaches. It's different ways of handling the same thing. One of them stokes the imagination. One of them tells you what you should be thinking. And it's kind of the same deal here with sort of how much detail you render your environment in. So sometimes it is down to developers just not wanting to put that, I don't want to say effort in, just not wanting to put that sort of level of detail in their work for sort of either stylistic or technical or even just time constraints. But yeah, sometimes it's a deliberate choice, sometimes it's a choice out of necessity. But over the last few years, as I've sort of started to play quite a variety of different games from both sort of big budget and small budget studios, I've really sort of got an appreciation for those games that leave you to think up some things for yourself. And it might sound strange describing a Final Fantasy game as doing that, but yeah, this original Final Fantasy game, even in its PSP incarnation, absolutely does that. It gives you the bare minimum of story you need to get on with what you're doing. And then the rest of that is your own personal story. Diamond armor. That sounds very nice indeed. It is very nice indeed. Thank you very much. Yeah, so like narratively, that moment there wouldn't make any sense. Ooh, I found a chest. Here's some diamond armor. It must have belonged to someone or whatever. And no, you just found a chest and there's some diamond armor here. And your stats go up, and that's cool. This sort of thing tends to get described a bit as emergent narrative these days. I'm not sure this is quite the same as sort of the emergent narrative you get in something like, say, Minecraft, which literally has no story. Although even that's kind of changed these days, hasn't it? Because you've been able to finish Minecraft for a while now. Minecraft has a final boss you can go and defeat. I mean, you can keep playing after you've beaten it, but... I don't know. This is something that is very distinct to this first Final Fantasy, though. So as soon as we get onto Final Fantasy 2, as you'll see when we get there, we're getting into a bit more of what the series is known for today, so sort of narrative-centric stuff. I mean, NES era narrative-centric stuff, so it's still relatively limited compared to some of the things we do today, but nonetheless, there is a much stronger feeling of you following a preset storyline rather than kind of creating your own story as you go through. Come on, Tim, cast the spell. Come on, there we go. Lovely. Right. Light axe. Oh, I don't like axes. We know this. And it's not as good as the defender anyway, so... Fuck the light axe! He does have the ability to cast a spell though, but I mean, we're not using many of those anyway, so... Excuse me. Lots of money. Yeah, excuse any coughing and spluttering and sore throat sounds I make today. I've had a cold for what feels like about a month at this point. I just can't shake it off. It's very much the beginning of autumn here, like... Right now, the weather has taken a turn for the worse. It is raining. We've got a leak in our roof that's made a hole in our ceiling upstairs, so that's nice. Although, that said, holes in ceiling aside, I actually prefer this weather to when it's ridiculously hot. Diamond armlet, eh? That sounds like something for Tom. Ooh. Amazing equipment in here. It's a mermaid! If the light of the sea is lost, we will turn into sea foam, vanishing forever. Oh no, we don't want that. Oh, my prayers have been answered. Good. Do you want to... Do you want to go out, or... Because, you know, I'm open to that sort of thing. One of our friends went to see the world above and hasn't returned. I think we know who that was, don't we? I wonder what she's doing now. I do hope she's alright. They are completely topless, aren't they? Unless those sort of light-coloured pixels are sort of vaguely flesh-toned shells. But no, they are completely topless. You can breathe underwater? How? How? Oxyale, my darling. Oxyale. Money. I'm just disrupting the entire mermaid economy. Save the sea. Restore light to the water crystal. Alright. Only because you asked so nicely. Are those the crystals the legends speak of? Just who are you? We're the warriors of light, lady. And we're going to save you and don't expect anything in return. But, you know, if you do want to do anything nice for us, we certainly won't complain. While the fiend of water lives, the light of the sea grows ever darker. This is the uppermost level of the shrine. The Kraken, the fiend of water, nests on its lowest level. Guess that's where we're going then. The Mirage Tower stands in the desert on the continent to the east, right? Well, I saw someone go into the tower. I remember hearing the most lovely chiming sound. It's a clue, ladies and gentlemen, it's a clue. We need something that makes a chiming sound to get into the Mirage Tower. We've spoken to you. Be quiet. Diamond shield. Yep. All good. Alright, now... I remember there being some stuff in here that's deliberately awkward to get to. If the light of the sea is not restored, we will vanish as foam on the waves. 10 gil. 10,000 gil. Save the sea, Ishish. You already said that. We've already been in there. Can't go that way. That's a dead end. No enemies on this floor, because mermaids. This is one of those weird levels that sort of wraps around on itself as well. Diamond helm. Diamond gloves. And the Rosetta Stone. You obtain the Rosetta Stone. Excuse me. Shouldn't have done that. But, you know, it's tradition at this point. Oh, dear. Whew. Anywhere else we can go? Right, I think we may have cleared this floor out. Let's equip that stuff we just got. So we had a diamond helm. And diamond gloves. Lovely. Pierre is fully diamonded. I think that's everything. Now, I just have to remember where the bloody hell the stairs down are. Nope. 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 Oh no, I'm stuck forever on a floor full of mermaids. What will I do? Can I go in there? Yes. Yeah, this was back towards the start, wasn't it? Yeah, so we've met all you. There we go. Right. Let's make our way back down. And head for the Kraken. Kraken, however you pronounce it. Never been quite sure on that one. Major stuff. I think we already had one of those, didn't we? Oh no, we had a wizard staff. A staff that casts fire when used. I think with the amount of ethers we got, that's not actually that useful anymore. Just because Tim is pretty much a walking mana battery at this point. This is one aspect of this remake that I'm not quite sure what to make of. Because although on the whole I think it's good that black mages can mage a lot more than they could do in the NES version. Just as a reminder, if you never played the NES version, the magic system in that was what's referred to as a Vancian magic system. Very similar to what Dungeons & Dragons uses, unsurprisingly, considering how much of this game is based on Dungeons & Dragons. But what it basically meant was each character had a set of spell levels from 1 to 8, I think it was. Those are still in this game. It determines when you can learn spells. But also in the original, each character had a set of magic points per spell level. So just like in Dungeons & Dragons, a wizard can cast so many first level spells a day, so many second level spells a day, and so on. That was the case in this one as well. So it meant that you could cast your more powerful spells less often. And that function is still kind of fulfilled by the magic point system. But the fact you can restore magic points much more easily with the ethers, it kind of takes a little bit of the strategy out of it. But at the same time, it also means that mages can actually do what they're designed to do. So, on the whole, I think it's better. But it is a difference worth acknowledging. So if you want the truly pure experience of what Final Fantasy really used to be, the NES version is out there for you to play. But as we've said a number of times on this series already, this version is much more accessible in terms of mechanics, minimizing the need for grinding for money in particular. Experience less so. But yeah, it takes much less time in this to acquire money than it did in the original in particular. Where are we going? I remember the stairs down being over on the left somewhere. Oh no, that might have been on the floor below this one. So where are the stairs down? You can do some diarrhea. You can set fire to them, because why not? Nice. I will be unlost very shortly, I promise. Right, I don't think stairs are ever inside rooms, so... it must be out here somewhere. So many fights. But, well, I think we're used to that by now, huh? No, let's back up. Ah. I'll figure this out. I will. I mean, I could use the exit spell and just come back in again. But at the same time, getting the experience and money from these enemies is worthwhile. I mean, it's not a ton of experience, but it is a fair bit of money. So, we'll keep exploring for now. You see my diamond shield? It's shiny. Lovely stuff. We're actually gaining quite a few levels in here. Yeah, up to 38 already. We gained 3 levels today. Not bad at all. That's why I'm not casting exit. You tend not to really think of 2D games as requiring you to make a map, because the perspective affords you a much sort of better overview of where it's possible to go and where you perhaps should be going. But I think this game is quite a good argument for actually doing so. I think the worst 2D game for that I've found is Phantasy Star 2, which is a game I respect a great deal, but I've just never really been able to sort of get into it, just because I found the early dungeons in that so confusing and difficult to map as well, because the kind of perspective of that game, it's not as obviously tile based as this is. So on the one occasion I did attempt to try and make a map of the early dungeons, I found it quite difficult to figure out exactly what the best way of doing that was. Oh, where the hell are we? So I don't know, it's the last time I played it was quite a long time ago, so it's one I do want to go back to at some point. The Phantasy Star series in general is one I want to explore, because I used to play Phantasy Star Online a fair bit, and I really enjoyed that. I'm very, very interested in playing Phantasy Star Online 2 when it comes out as well, now that we are actually getting a Western version of it. Supposedly, anyway. I haven't heard anything on that for a while. Right, where are the sodding stairs? We're gonna be level 40 by the time we're done here, aren't we? 5. It's alright, Tom. We're not judging you. Right, maybe this way. It's a different set of enemies, anyway. Gonna have to charge up Tim in a minute. It's down to double digits. I think everyone needs that. Guzzle a few potions as well. Let's take a short break. There we go. Much better. We're totally going around in circles, aren't we? Alright, if I gain another level, I'll cast exit. If I gain another level before we find the way back down again, I will cast exit and we'll start again. Ah! Right, the way up was in the bottom right corner. But that is not the way we want to go. We want to go down. And we're seeing new enemies, though. Deep eyes. Don't you dare paralyze me. I will punch you in your big fat eyeballs. This is going to be the way up, isn't it? Yes. Ah. See, this is what RPG dungeons used to be like. I don't actually mind linear dungeons, as long as they sort of have interesting stuff going on along the way. When we eventually get to Final Fantasy 13 on this series, we'll talk a bit more about that, but I like Final Fantasy 13 and its various spin-offs, despite its criticism for its linear pathways, particularly through the first part of the game. Because Final Fantasy 13 does a great job of spectacle. So as you're progressing through those linear things, interesting things are going on all around you. And there's also some interesting thematic things going on with regard to that design as well. So, but like I say, we'll get to that if and when... No, when we get to Final Fantasy 13 on this series. That's a long way off yet. But it will happen. I feel like we're in a different area, so I think we might be heading in the right direction. Still, at least there's no chance we missed any treasures. Let's put it that way. Up here? Yes! Oh, thank God. Right. This is the one where the stairs down were in the top left. I'm sorry, northwest. Pathetic normal shark. Get out of here. Yes, I am drinking out of a Miffy cup. What of it? Ah, that was much easier, wasn't it? Right. New unexplored territory. At least there's only 2 floors of this, I think. There's another level. If I was a popular YouTuber, I would have done some sort of joke about songs by another level there. Another level is a band, isn't it? I think. I don't know. Shut up, I'm 38 years old. I don't keep up with such things. I've got much more important things to do than keep up with the modern music that you children listen to. Like video games. Video games are more important. This is where another level was from, like the 1980s or something, wasn't it? I don't know. I shouldn't have started this discussion. You know, that long silence before I said anything about this. I was thinking in my head, should I start this conversation? Because I'm not sure I can finish it. I'm just kind of proving that to myself right now. But never mind, it's happened now. We can just close the book on that. Well, Tom hits a troll for 15. Ooh, Tim is hurting. Get some liquids down you. Getting a bit low on potions. I think we got 99 high potions, so that's okay. It's a dead end. Lonely sea troll, goodbye. Goodbye, Pierre. This is why you're the leader. Also because you're me. But more attractive. And stronger. And more capable. And better at everything. Where do we go? I always kind of wondered about the Black Mages in Final Fantasy, if they've always actually supposed to have been sort of non-human. Or if it's just a stylistic thing. With the glowing eyes and the darkness. And like, if we take the NES version of this as a reference point... No, that's where we started. Bollocks. Yeah, if we take the NES version of this as a reference point, then they are human, because... As I think I mentioned in a previous episode, the Black Wizard class in that was basically just a Black Mage taking his hat off and having a sort of very similar haircut to what the monk has got in this. So sort of very severe, quite militaristic. Antidote. So I don't know. I mean, obviously Final Fantasy IX raises some interesting questions in that regard. But also, if we look at like the MMOs, Final Fantasy XI and Final Fantasy XIV, and then Black Mages and those are just people, although they don't look like that. So I don't know. Whether or not they're human, they're certainly iconic. Let's put it that way. I think the Black Mage sprite is probably one of the most recognisable things from Final Fantasy. It's because stuff like the Knight. The Knight could be from anything. Whereas that particular look of caster, of Black Mage, is unique to Final Fantasy. Oh. Now this is confusing. Maybe we need to play a game of Uppy Downy. You know, I'm aware we've been going for quite a while already, but you know, I'm at the point where I've started, so I'll finish. As you've probably realised by now, I don't really conform to a particular sort of time limit or anything like that. I know some YouTubers do, but... and there's probably a good reason for that, but... you know, as I've said numerous times previously, I do this for fun. I do this because I enjoy doing it, and thus I don't feel any particular pressure to sort of game the algorithm or whatever. People are coming across these videos somehow. So that's cool. So it's cool that some people are watching them. Oh, hello. Okay. Big room of nothing. Been a while since we had one of those, isn't it? I call that more a moderate-sized room of nothing. Alright, down here then, I guess. Through here? Treasure! 110 go. 450 go. Okay. That was an interesting little detour. It always amazes me with any RPG in which you don't get tired of the battle music, however long you've been playing it for. In my experience, that's always been a big strength of Final Fantasy. It's always had excellent battle themes that, regardless of how long the game goes on for, you don't get tired of them. That said, I will say that one of my favourite things in RPGs is where you get to a particular milestone in the story and that gets marked by a change in the battle music. Like, after a particular point, don't kill him. After a particular point in the story, the battle music changes for some reason. I love that. That's one of my favourite things. Giant's gloves. These sound interesting. Gloves that cast saber when used. Does that mean that Tim can use them? It does. No, it doesn't. Because that's clearly a protect ring. Excuse me. No, and only Pierre can use them. And they're not as good as his diamond gloves. Forget them then. I don't think there's far left to go now. Oh, enough with the poison! You got the poison? I've got the remedy. Alright, where are we going? I feel like the frequency of battles in this place is designed to deliberately disorient you. Because it would probably be quite a bit easier to find your way around if you weren't getting thrown into battles every few steps. Worm killer. I feel like we had one of those ages ago and it wasn't very good. Yeah. Sword effective against dragons. Treasure! Fight! You're not white, you're clearly purple. Purple shark sounds like a cocktail. Evidently we shouldn't step on that square. Nice one, Tim. Those cat claws are really doing you proud. Obviously not to the same standard as Sam Punch, but even so. A ribbon! Another ribbon! Yes, please. You can have that. There we go. You may remember previously I said that I think the ribbons might be the best headgear in the game. They're certainly very good. And offhand, I can't remember if they have the same effect that they do in later Final Fantasies, which is to protect against all status effects. But they're certainly very good protective equipment. See, it is worth trawling around. There's the stairs down. Any more treasure first? Because it's clearly worth looking around, because we've got that excellent armor for Pierre. We've got the ribbon. We've got a bunch of stuff we don't really need, and loads of money. Okay, let's just take this round in a big circle, so... Alright, let's continue on. Level 40. Lovely. This way? Very nice. I kind of got over the trauma of them not being in sync experience-wise now. You kind of have to get over that early in this game. Because as lovely as it is to have them all level up at the same time, you know, sometimes it just doesn't happen. And they're all pretty close anyway. So, like, they level up at similar times. It's within 2 or 3 fights in most cases. Room of nothing. Well, we track down the Kraken before an hour is up. Let's find out. With the amount of levels we gained, he's going to be a terribly underwhelming boss fight after all this, isn't he? Anything in there? No. Ow! That really hurt. Now, this is confusing. How dare you subvert the expectations of what room means? Oh, here we are. Right. Let's get fully charged. And ready to go. You humans do impress. I would have not have thought to see you here. Whoop. But do you really think you could defeat the Fiend of Water here in my own domain? Fools, these dark depths shall be your tomb. Yeah, bring it on. You may be big and tentacly, but there is no such thing as null water. So, null frost, I guess? Alright, you can haste Sam. Yeah. 20 hits, Jesus Christ. Alright, what else can we do? We can protect everyone. And you can haste Pierre as well. 8 damage. Fuck you. "20 hits, even with darkness. Lovely. Absolutely wonderful. Right. you can unblind yourself. And you can temper. Ow. Sam's lack of armor is becomes a little bit more dangerous. 14 hits, that's more like it. 839 damage. And he's dead. Good work, team. And that's 3 out of the 4 crystals done. Hooray! And of course, we've now unlocked another one of the secret dungeons. Which we're getting much closer to a level that we're able to tackle at. So, I think once we've done the 4 crystals, before we do the actual end of the game, we'll look at those optional dungeons. Because I think that's the optimum time to do them. Because I don't think you can do them at another time. So, alright, nice. Let's go and rest at the inn and save. Look at my legs, aren't they wonderful? They're alright. I've got those already. It's the level 8 ones I don't have, wasn't it? Where is your inn? This is a graveyard. I do not wish to sleep in your graveyard. You do have an inn, right? Maybe you do not. Or maybe this is it. There it is. Move, lady. Move. 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 Moves. Out of the way. There we go. Right. Oh, and just under an hour as well. Alright. So, just before that milestone is reached, then I'll just say, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please help out the channel by leaving a like or a comment and subscribing. Be sure to check out moegamer.net for new articles on Japanese and Japanese-inspired video games, new and old, every weekday. Every month, Moe Gamer features an in-depth exploration of an individual game or series as its cover game, so be sure to check the archives to see if your favourite has had a deep dive yet. If you'd like to support the site directly, please consider becoming a patron or buying me a coffee. You can find links to do both down in the video description. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.